Well, hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining today's webinar on the plans feature. This is our second run through. We did run the same training a couple weeks ago. Here's what I have in store for you today. In today's training, we will cover what the plans feature is, how to get access, how to create a plan, how to activate it, and then we'll talk about the solutions that support a plan once it is activated and live. As always, our calls are recorded and will be posted on our Salamander Live YouTube channel. During the training, if you have questions, please write them in the chat and my moderator, Tracy, will answer them as they come in. So first, let's talk about access. Actually, let's go through and talk about what the plans is. Apologize, a little ahead of myself here. Plans. So what is the plans feature? The plans feature is an add-on feature that allows you to pre-plan for events by creating templates that can be activated at any time. So a plan template can include assignments, people, equipment, collections. It can also include location information, which will map it onto the plant's map. And once activated, those locations will be pinned onto the event map. So the plans feature includes ability to stage assignments of start times and physical addresses, which I talked about, which would then be viewed on that map. There's email functionality. So this allows you to email event details and special instructions to all planned personnel. Once a plan is activated in Salamander Live, the check-in process for planned personnel can be managed through the Track app and/or Salamander Live. And then last, plans can be copied and reused as many times as needed. So once you create it, it's always available to you in your plans database. You can always go back, reuse them, edit the information. You can also copy them, which will provide you the chart structure and all the assignments, including all the scheduled times. No resources, but you'll basically get the full structure and then you can edit from there. So let's talk about access here. So access, I'm just going to go into this person's profile. So if you don't have access to the security user section, this is how you can tell if you have permissions to the plans feature. So plans is going to be over. All right, I apologize on that. I'm having some technical difficulties here. I lost connection there for a second, so I apologize. Can everybody still hear me and see my screen? Give me a thumbs up. You can also put in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Again, I apologize on that. We have people that's working out, adding in fiber. They're coming out and doing whatever they're doing to our street there again for the 100th time. So I apologize on that. As I was saying on here, if you were looking at your profile, you can go to your username at the top right, click on that, and then click on profile. This here will tell you if you have access to the plans feature. So you have Salamander Live assigned plus plans. And from there, you would need a role that gives you access and permissions to work in the plans feature. So the best way to look at this, if you click on the info button, which is the roles permission, when you go in there, there's a specific section for plans. And so you have to make sure that all four of those are selected. So that's important. So it's creating It's editing, deleting. So you'll see at the top here. So creating, reading, updating, deleting. So you just make sure that all those are selected depending on the role that you're providing to the user. Now, if you're an administrator and you have full access to, to manage licensing, you can go to security users. And from there, you can just go to your person. So let me find my person here. And then under products, once you are subscribed to this, you'll see plans listed underneath. Now, plans can be subscribed to the entire account or it can be subscribed by organization. So it depends on what you purchased. So you'll see it listed there. You'll see the contract in which it's tied to. So select that and then click Save Changes. And then under roles, you want to make sure that they have a role that allows them again to manage plans. So you'll see this person has a non-administrator role. So they've got incident management and resource data entry. So I'm just going to take a look at this so you guys can see, the difference between this. So this person just has access to plans. So they're incident management, which means that they're just managing the event itself. So they've got access to assignments, plans, and events. But if this user is going to be adding in planned resources, they will also need to be able to get access to people. If they're going to be planning in equipment in the plan, they also have to have access to the equipment database. So you'll see that's all unchecked right here. So that's why there's this secondary role in here called resource data entry. So this resource data entry will give them access to the people as well as some of the equipment. Okay, not everything in regards to equipment, but for some of it. So just the adding and being able to access those databases to add into the plan. Of course, if you have an administrator role that's full functionality, you'll be able to get all of it. So that is access for your security users. Once you get access, you'll be able to click into the plans feature in the left menu. It's under the apps section above events. And simply just go in there and you'll see it kind of looks like all of our other pages in here. So you have your toolbar at the top right for adding a new plan, looking at reports, and then editing your columns. You have a search function on the left side to search for a specific plan. Now there is no limit to the number of plans that you can create. So you can create as many plans as you need to, and of course you can delete them as you go. So again, these are plans, so they're not live events. You're just planning for a future event that you have coming. I've got a couple different examples in here I'll show you on how small the plan you can make it. So real basic, or you can make it as complex for those large scale events. So let's take a look at some of them. So I'll take a look at this one here. There's a training exercise. So again, this one, a smaller based event. So you'll see in here, much smaller. Not a lot of assignments or anything here, but if I go into the chart, so just a couple different assignments on here. So this plan doesn't have any planned resources. It's just basically just the structure. So when I activate this, it's the structure. So all those assignments that's going to be pushed into the track app. So I don't have to have my track app users build out the assignments within the track app. It's already built out through this plan. It pushes this over into that track app. So you'll see in here, no roster. So again, this is a real basic plan, just the structure and the assignments. Taking a look at another one, we'll take a look at this one right here, example plan. This is a larger plan. You'll see in there that it's much larger, a lot more assignments. So you can use your mouse to scroll in, scroll out. You can click, drag, and drop to kind of look at your all your different assignments. And then you'll see in here that there's a par count at the bottom here. So as I start adding in resources, the different types of resources will have their counts at the bottom here. So for this planned event, I've got 62 responders, 3 pieces of equipment, 5 collections. So a total of 70. And within each assignment, you'll see that there is these three dots, three stacked dots. That's the more options. So that right there allows you to click on that and it pulls down a menu for you to add in your resources. So you can add in people, you can add in equipment, you can add in collections, or you can go straight to the details and edit to add in location information, um, as well as instructions. And of course, that's also where you can add in all three in one screen. You can detach this from the chart. You can delete this assignment. So this is the only time that you can delete an assignment is through a plan. As you know, once the plan is live and in live events, assignments are not deletable. You cannot delete them. Right. So this kind of just gives you a sample of what you can create. You'll see that some of them have scheduling in here. I'll show you how to create those schedules once we get in there. Bottom left is going to be a toolbar for capturing a picture of your plan. You can realign, you can center, zoom to fit if you need to. So that's if you start moving things around and zooming in, zooming out, you can choose these to quickly get it back to being able to see all of the assignments. Now, plans can be created for all different types of events. I'll have all different types of events in here. I've got it for family reception centers. I got it for reunification. Got it for schools, training exercises, pod. You've got conferences. So all different types that you can create. Natural disasters. So a lot of different types that you can create this for. And then, of course, you can copy and reuse them over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and create one. So we'll create one from scratch. So top right, you're going to click the plus button. From there, you can get the add plan form. So simply all you're going to do is name your plan. I'm just going to name this as a generic plan. So again, this is the plan that's for your upcoming event that you're planning for. So if you want to name it as your event, feel free to. Just know that in the plan itself, if you want to keep it as a generic plan, and then when you activate it, when you on that activation screen, you can actually edit the name of the event, and you can put it whatever you want there. So I'm just going to name this generic plan. This is going to be used for all different types of events, and then I'll just rename it when I activate it. From here is the organization name. So which organization is this planned for? So again, your default organization, so whoever you are tied to per your profile will appear here. You can delete this and type in whatever you want as long as you have access to that organization. So I've got a bunch called Moosewood, so I can select what this is for. Okay. So you must select it from the drop-down like any other organization field that we have in Salamander Live. So I'm just going to select this one here. Date to activate. So when is this event happening? So you can put the date to activate and the time from here. So let's say this is not happening until this is a April 1st event. So again, this is if you want to put this in here. If this is a plan there's going to be using over and over and over again, you may not want to put a date to activate. If this is for a specific event, then that might be where you want to put a date to activate. Now know that just because you put a date to activate does not mean the system is going to auto activate based on the date and time you input here. This is still a manual activation. All this is doing is just making it available on this plan screen so that you can visibly see when you've got plans that have to be activated. So in this case, I'm going to choose 7 o'clock is when this has to be activated by. And then from there, you got the event type. So there's a bunch of different options. In our last couple of releases, this is when we released this, is we added a bunch of different event types in here. So you might have seen that on the event side. We've copied that onto the plan side as well. So if it's a special event, you can put that in there, any option. Again, this is optional information. You don't have to select the event type. I'm just going to do so for here, select special event, and then click save. Once you click save, it's going to take you into your plan details. So at the top, you're going to have 5 tabs: general, chart, roster, files, and tasks. We're going to take each one by one to see what's available on each tab. So on the general tab, you'll have the name of your plan, when it starts, if you put a start date and a time, the event type, and the organization name this plan is for. You'll see there's an option for a run number. There's an address, add an address to activate the weather, and the same thing down here for the map. So how to add the run number and an address is by clicking the edit button. Top right, you'll see there's an edit button next to the search function. Simply click on that. And this is where if you didn't like the name of your plan, you can rename it. You'll see that organization name is now locked, so you can no longer edit that once it's created. It's accessible and available to users that have access to this organization. You can edit the start date and time. Here's where you can put in a run number. A run number is just an internal number if you wanted to track if you have paperwork or anything that has an internal number that you're tracking your event with. You can write that in here. Address information as you start typing, just like any other address field within Salamander Live. Simply select it from the drop down. Auto fills in all the information. So what's important is the latitude and longitude. So that's what's going to pin this event location on the map. Simply click Save, click OK, and it's going to update. And there it is. So I just randomly selected an address, so that's what it's pulling up right now. And then you'll see that also pulls up the weather for the location. So right here in Minneapolis, 43 degrees. So that's what you have on the General tab. From there, we can go into the Chart tab. So the Chart tab in this case, you'll see is the layout area. So this is where you're laying out your planned event. So by default, you're going to have this off-scene assignment, which is extremely important. I don't recommend you deleting or removing this off-scene assignment. This is the only assignment that stops the clock. So if accurate times is important for you in producing accurate cost reports, got to make sure that you have this off-scene assignment when you activate this and this planned event is now live, making sure that those resources that are checked in at the end of their shift or their day, they're moved to the off-scene assignment so it stops that clock. From there, you're going to see all these different counts in here. So as we start adding in resources, you'll see that these are clickable. So this is for people. So in this case, responders, equipment, collections, and then you've got civilians right here. Unlike on the event side, you don't have a patients or evacuee because you can't plan for that. So that's why that's only available on the event side. All right, so at the bottom here, you'll see we have an add assignment button. So next step on here is to start creating your planned event. So what assignments do you think you'll be having for this event? So in this case, you can click the plus assignment or add assignment. It's going to pull the add assignment modal, and you'll have some assignments listed possibly if you have assignments built within your assignments database from over here. So it's basically pulling what your user has access to when it comes to assignments. So if your assignments database is blank, this is going to be pretty blank. So does that mean you can't add assignments? No, it's just a lot more typing because you'll have to type out the assignments versus being able to select it from a list. So in here, if I'm looking at just creating a basic chart, I'm just going to use the ICS functions. Again, it just depends on the kind of event you're running. You can add whatever assignment that you want. Again, we use the term assignments loosely. It could be a task, it could be a job, it could be a function, it could be a role, it could be a position. So any of those. So I'm just going to type in here incident commander. Type an incident. There it is. I've got a bunch of them in here. You'll see that some of them are tied to different organizations. I'm an administrator at the top level, I mean top organization, and I have access to other organizations underneath me. Maybe those organizations are restricted, so they can't see any of my assignments. That's why you'll see there's going to be some duplicates in here. It's only because I have access to those assignments that's being created by child organizations or sub-organizations. So it doesn't matter what you select, so all it's pulling in is the assignment name. It does not pull in the organization which it was created for. So I can select it. Once I select it, it adds it to this section below, and there it is. And I can add up to 50, so I don't have to leave out of this window. I can stay in this window right here and just keep adding. So I'm just going to delete this. I'm just adding operations. There it is. I'm just select one, finance, lodge. Oops, if I can spell. Planning. So you'll see in here, just make sure that everything is looking good. I've got planning. Now, if you don't have an assignment in here, like for example, I type in mobile response. So I don't have this assignment in here. You'll see there's that plus button over here. I can click on that plus button to add in this assignment. So I'm just putting mobile response unit. I can click the plus button and it adds this assignment. You see that? Not tied to any organizations, anything. That just means it's one I've added. So this is what I was talking about, that if you don't have an assignments database built out, you can still manually add them here. You just have to type in the entirety of that assignment name and click the plus button to add it. If you made a mistake, you added duplicates or you added the wrong assignment, there is an X button over here that you can click to remove it before you add it to your layout area. Can you always edit it from your layout area? Absolutely. Again, this is a plan, so you can edit, add, delete as you see fit until you make this live. So go ahead and click save. Once you click save, it's going to throw all those assignments into your layout area. So it's just going to put them all in the order that you've added the assignments. From here, you can create a chart structure. So to create the chart structure, simply dragging and dropping. So I'm clicking to drag this assignment. I'll zoom in closer so you can see. So incident commander is going to be at the top. I'm going to simply drag the operations section chief and just put it on top of the incident commander assignment. What that's going to do once I let go, it's going to create the reporting structure. And now I've got the start of my chart. And I can continue doing that. If I want to build that third layer, I can just keep going. So again, this is just a real basic chart with just a couple assignments. Again, if you just wanted an off scene and checked in, checked out, or checked in staging, and I mean, again, you can create this as you know, and add as many assignments as you need to. So a really basic plan, or you can make it as complex as you need to with all the assignments and all the resources. So I'm just adding a couple of different assignments in this case. So I've got a couple of them in here. Once you've added your assignments, next step is to decide if you want to add resources. So do you have a planned roster for who's going to be working this event? If you do, you're able to add them here. The only caveat to that is that you have to make sure that the people that you're looking at adding exist within your people database. So you cannot just manually add in anybody. You have to have access to them within your people database. So to give you an example in this case, if I click the more options, I'm going to have these buttons right here. If I click on the add people, this modal is going to pull from my people database. You see there's no plus button over here. So I'll have to add somebody from my list that I have access to. Okay, so I'm just going to add somebody really quick. So you can search by their first name and last name, last name. You can also search by their organization. So I'm just going to select this right here for this person. Again, you can select up to 50 people. So I can stay in the screen. Again, this is going to the incident commander assignment. So think about the assignment that you're adding it to, um, and making sure that you've got the right resources within the right assignments. So if I zoom in on here, you'll see I've got one person as the incident commander. This is clickable. I can click on that and I can see that there is the person right there and their name and their ID within that parentheses. So that's in one way you can do it. So you can add people from here. You can add equipment. You can add collections. I can also go to the details and edit function in
You
here.
and Shannon,
Okay,
you guys are the people.
I saw that. I was like, oh,
So under here, you've got, so I just clicked into the edit details for that assignment, which is incident commander. So you'll see at the top is the assignment details. There is an edit button at the top right of this section. I can add in additional details for this assignment. So what are those details? So this is where you can edit the assignment name. So if you select it from a list and you don't like the name, you can, this is the time that you can edit this. There is this functionality right here where you'll see it's called allow tag app users to select. You'll see how it's grayed out. That's for a future release for our tag app, for our updated tag app, which we did training on a couple months ago, but we have not released the updated version yet. We still are going through some final testing with that before we get it released. But that's why that's grayed out yet, because it does not work as of today. There is a category field. So this is the same category field that you'll find under the assignment side. So if this was assignment that you pulled in from the assignments database, if there was a category field, that category information would pull here. If not, and you want to add one, feel free to. What you're basically doing is just categorizing your assignments. Like, for example, you may have some assignments that are specifically for conferences. Maybe you have some that are specifically for like training exercise and drills, and then you have some that are specific for other different types of events you have, maybe concerts that you run security for. So things like that. So you can categorize these any way that you see fit. From here is scheduling information. So if you want to use scheduling, this is where you can enter in the start date and time. So this is for the people that's assigned to this assignment. So if you, let's say this person or who is the incident commander, they have to be there on this date by this time. So you can put that information in here. What this does is that it's going to relay this information over to the track app. If this person, so let's say this event started on the 1st. So this event starts at 7. This person has to be there by 7:30 a.m. If this person does not check in before 7:30, they will be late. And it tells you in the track app when you scan them in, if the time is 7:31, the track app will let you know that this person is late. And then it prompts some options for you within the track app. So that's how the scheduling works. It's just to help your people understand what time they need to be there by, and they should be there earlier than the time that they start. From here, you can also include this on the plan versus actual tile. So on the event side, under the stats tab, there is a pie chart that's going to show you all the scheduled times that you have for your planned event. And then from there, you can see who's late and who's actually checked in. So this is only for planned resources. So you can click on that, check that to include this assignment and this time on that tile. From here is the address location. So where is the incident commander going to be? So more than likely they're probably going to be off scene somewhere, probably not on the event site, possibly. So maybe in your EOC. So as you start typing in an address, simply select it from the list. Let's see, I don't like that address. Let's choose something else. Here you go. So again, fills in all the info right here. So one thing to note, I didn't talk about it earlier, but the address selected from the drop down, make sure that the address you select is the one that has the gray pin in front of it. So it's pulling from Google Maps, and that's how it's autofilling all the information. So it's using geolocation, so the location of where your computer's at, pulling in matching addresses. Selecting that address from the list is going to auto fill in the information, including latitude and longitude. Again, this is what's going to include for mapping. And then from here, you also have assignment details. So assignment details, think of this as instructions. So detailed instructions for the people that are working this particular assignment. Is there specific gear they need to bring? Do they need to report to somebody? Do they have to have specific equipment on them? Do they need to park specifically somewhere? That's where you're going to put in all of the details for this assignment. And this can be emailed out to the person. So there's a functionality on the roster tab where you can email all the details of the plan, of the assignment the person's planned for to the individuals. So in this case, I'm not going to write bring your Salamander credential. I'm going to put that at the end because everybody should be bringing in their Salamander credential. But maybe they're in a specific room in this building. So EOC EOC and then second floor. Oops, if I can spell second floor. Okay, so they can put whatever you want in there and then click save. You have up to 512 characters. Once you click save, all that data is going to appear at the top here. You can edit this at any time. Below that, you have the options to add in resources. So if there are resources already added, which we did add from the main chart screen, you'll see that person added right here. So it tells you their name, their ID, and their organization, and if they have a rate. So this person has a $35 hourly rate, but it's an account rate. So there's a difference between an individual rate and account rate. So an individual rate is a rate that um, is saved within their personal record. It pulls over and that's going to show up in here. The other rate, which is the account rate, is entered in by an account administrator. And it's all done within the account settings here. So anybody that doesn't have an individual rate will get that account default rate. So at least something is calculating within the cost reports. So that's what that additional parentheses A is for. So I'm going to add a couple, I'm just going to add another person in here just so you can see on here. So I'm going to add Mr. Chris Avery, who's IT. And this person you'll see $30 an hour and no A. That means that is the rate that was captured and saved within his personnel record. From here, if you made a mistake, you need to remove someone, you can always click the checkbox next to their name. You can click multiple if you wanted to, and then you can click the remove function. If you click on here, there is always a confirm delete. That's not deleting the person's record, it's deleting or removing them from this assignment. So from here, you just copy the same steps for all the assignments you have. So it might be wise, especially if it's a large scale event, you might want to have a couple people working on the same plan, but different parts of the plan. Okay. You can also add equipment. You can add collections from here as well too. So we won't add it to the incident commander assignment, but we'll add it for a different one. So this incident commander assignment is done. We're going to click the back button. So you see there's two back buttons in here. Make sure you click in the back button from the assignment details. And it takes you back to your chart. So you'll see in here, if I zoom in closer, the incident commander now has a green pin next to the assignment name. That's a visual indicator that a location has been entered in for this assignment. And if there is a scheduled time, you'll see it listed here. This is not yet passed, so that's why it's black. But if this date and time is passed, this will turn red. And now we can click and then we can see the two individuals in here. So we do the same process for all the other assignments. So let's go into the operations assignment. So again, same thing. I can do details, edit, do the exact same thing. I can edit, add in if there's a start time in this case. Okay, you can do the exact same thing. So again, they start, let's say they start at 8 o'clock instead. And then address line. And then assignment details. Okay. Okay. So put whatever you want in there. Um, what gear they need to bring, any other instructional um, details that you need in here. Click save. And then you can add in your people. So from here, we'll add our people. So in this case, I'm just going to do police. So again, I'm searching by the organization. So I'm getting everybody from this organization right here. And then this is where if you have a bunch of people from this organization, this is where you can just select a bunch of them. So I've got 10 selected, click save. It's going to add those 10 people from here. And there they all are. They all have their individual rates, nobody that has a default rate in here. From here, I can also add equipment if I want to. So there's specific equipment for this assignment. This, again, is pulling from your equipment database. There is no consumables in there. So if you are working with and have subscribed to asset management, this list right here will only pull your fixed assets. So no consumables from here. So again, you can go through, you can select what you need to for this assignment. So again, this is going to be things that you're looking at tracking for your event. So you're probably not tracking radios and such. That would be something that's done through the inventory app, since those are going to be more tied to the individual in which that piece of equipment is issued to. But they need a radio to do their job. They need a flashlight. They need, reflective gear to do their job. Let's say they're doing traffic control. Whatever it is, that's more going to be assigned to the person, not to a specific assignment within the event. That would be done through the inventory app. Okay. So you can select whatever assign or whatever piece of equipment that you want from this list and add it. I'm not going to add any equipment here. I'm going to instead add it under the collection side. So I've got some collections. So let's say in this collection, I've got a drone team. So in this case, I'm going to click save. So when you're adding collections, only one at a time, you'll see there's a little message at the bottom here within any of the modals. It's going to tell you that items in red are already included and cannot be selected. So once you add a resource to an assignment, their name will be listed in red from this list, from whatever list that you're in, people, equipment, or collection, which means you cannot select them again. So if you need to move someone from one assignment to another, you have to go into the original assignment they're in, remove them, which then will free them, which then allows you to add them to a different assignment. So we'll do that. So I'm going to add drone team in here. So there's 2 people from the drone team. One piece of equipment. You'll see that how you can tell that they're part of a collection is their text is in orange and their collection name is under the collection name column. So there it is. So D Team 1 is Drone Team 1 with the police department. There's 1 piece of equipment tied to that collection and 2 people tied to that collection. So Thomas Cope, let's say we're going to remove him. So if you go into the people, I'll just show you this really quick here. Anybody that's in red, I just pull their name up. You see this? Their names are in red. They're not clickable. I can't click them from here to move them anywhere. So if Thomas Cope is going to be in a different assignment, I have to remove him. Click the checkbox, remove him, which will release him. And then you can go into a different assignment and add him into the different assignment. So in this case, I'll add him over here. I can go to people or I can do the details again. I'll just do from people from here and then type in his name. And there he is. Select his name, and now I can add him to his new assignment. So if you're looking at this here, you'll see all the resources listed. Collections again, stay in orange, tells you which collection they're part of, in the case you have multiple collections within this one assignment. And the same thing can be done for equipment. And the same thing can be done for the collections. Okay, and the collections, the great thing about the collections is that once you click the collection, it even breaks it down to who is actually a part of the collection. So it doesn't double count them. All it's doing is telling you, hey, you've got these two people and a piece of equipment. They have already been parsed into their respective categories, but we're just telling you that Drone Team 1 includes these two individuals plus this piece of equipment. So it doesn't double count them in the parse. You only have one collection. The two people have been counted under the people over here, and the piece of equipment has been counted here. You'll see underneath this is the roll-up count. So if there's any assignments underneath for an assignment that's reporting to this assignment, you'll see that included in the roll-up counts. So the first count in front of the parentheses is the accounts for the assignment, and then the parentheses is the roll-up count. And you'll see that roll-up count go all the way up to the incident commander. So 14 total, 1 and 1. So that is what you would do for every single assignment. So you just repeat that process. So if you have a really large event, you'd have, a couple people that's going in here and working in different sections. So you may have one that's working in the operations. You might have finance working in the finance and so on and so forth. So build this out as you need to. And then you can also view your roster. So as you're adding people to the assignments, you can also go to your roster tab and view your roster of resources. So in this case, you have 14 people, one piece of equipment, one collection. This should all match your chart par count at the bottom here. So the roster tab. So a couple things on the roster tab here give you information about who the individuals are that's currently planned for the event, the organization they're with. You've got their vertical, which is always going to be responder, unless you're working a civilian account, it would say civilian. And then the assignment in which they're assigned to, and then their collection name if they're part of a collection. Okay. So in this case, a bunch of people in here, and you'll see that next to their ID is this email icon. What this is telling you is that this person has an email that's saved within their personnel record. What this allows you to do is allows you to email the details of their assignment, their plan assignment, to the person. So all of these individuals have an email. I can select all their names if I wanted to, so they all have an email. Once I do that, you're going to see an email button appear at the top right. And click on that, and right here you can see the list of the emails. So this is where you need to verify, double check that all these emails are current emails. A lot of these emails are not true emails, like this is not a true one. I'll have to delete some of these. So Chris Avery, Julia Charles, and Victoria are the only three. But from here you can add in the subject. So what is the subject? So this is for a event that's coming soon. And what is, and then underneath here you can put in details for that event. So I'm going to put in here training exercise 2026, April, oops, if I can spell, 20, 8 a.m. to p.m. Whatever information you want to put in here. Well, okay. Sorry. I meant to put this at the top here. Okay, so that's what you can put in here if you'd like. And then you can click send. So I'm not going to do this for these individuals. I'm just going to copy this, go back to the individuals that actually have addresses, real addresses. It's these three, these two right here. Okay. Once you're ready, again, you got 2,048 characters you can put in here for the body. So whatever you need to let them know about the planned event. And then all you do is click send. Once you click send, it's going to show emails sent. From here, they check their inbox. It's going to come from Salamander Live notifications. So this is what it's going to look like. So this is for the incident commander assignment. So it's coming from Salamander Live notifications. Make sure this is on your safe sender list, their email address, the plan name, the organization that the person's with, and then the summary. So this is what I put in there, training exercise 2026, special instructions was what I put in the email I sent to all three individuals. The assignment name, so this is the assignment in which the person is assigned to. This is where the location is at. So they can click on that. That is going to open up another tab with the location information on the map. And then any assignment details. So this is what I put in when I was entering in details for this particular assignment. So meaning EOC, second floor, room 300, the person's name, and then their QR code. So this is the same QR code that's printed on their physical ID card. So if they have a physical hard card, it's the same QR code. The difference is that this one here does not have an expiration date. This is sent through the plan, so you're not, it doesn't function that same process where you can enter in a expiration date because it's not something that's printed, it was emailed. So they can use this as they need to check in and out of the event. So they can use this, they can also use their actual physical hard card. Think of this as a backup. And then the person that sent it. So this was me that sent it through. So again, this is the person, their email. So if they have questions, they should be contacting you, not us. So in this way, they should be responding to this email. They should be clicking on this and responding to you if they have questions on this. If they reply to this, this comes back to us at Salamander. When we see this, we'll just forward it off to the person's name at the bottom here since their email's included. So we do get those once in a while, but just know that we will forward those off to you. The other one on here was for the operations. So again, this is two separate ones. So this is the operations section chief. So again, same details at the top here, but the assignment details are going to be different. So they're meeting at a different location, and then their assignment details are different. So they need to report to this individual, park in ramp A, and then this is their QR code. So that is the email that comes out through the roster. So that's the most important thing on here in order to send the email is that they have to have an email saved within their profile. So I'd recommend that if they don't, go into their personnel, their people record and add in those emails. We're looking at the primary emails, not the secondary. So make sure it's a primary email. Equipment doesn't have the checkbox. You can't email equipment. Same thing with collections since the people are parsed out already into the people tab. So that is the roster. From there, you have files. So files in this case, this is the one area that's a little bit different than all the other files tabs within Salamander Live because there's actually two functionalities in here. Here you can upload files. So just the same as you could do on the people side, equipment side, org side, you can upload any files that you need to right from here. And then you also have the what files I can add. So lets you know what types of documents and then what we can accept. The additional on here is the ICS forms. So there are PDF documents of the ICS forms, and these documents are going to be documents that you can edit through PDF. So for example, if you downloaded this document, depending on what the document is, it may pull in some information. And when I say some, I'm meaning the event name. So let's look at that document. So I just pulled up that ICS 215. You see it pulled out the organization, or I apologize, the event name right here. That was it. Doesn't pull the operational period, doesn't pull anything else in here. The rest of the stuff, you can click on it and enter in the information as you see fit. Once you're done, you can save it and you can re-upload it back in here. So I know that's what a lot of organizations I've worked with, what they do is they once they get a approved plan, that's where they upload that approved plan in here, and that's the plan in which everybody that's working on this plan event is going to be um, going in and entering information for. And then as they fill out ICS forms, they'll upload them here or they'll upload it on the event side. So that's where you can find those files. From here, there is a fifth tab called Tasks. So this is coming soon. There's nothing here as of right now. I don't have a lot of information on this since I have not seen it yet. But as soon as we are ready to launch this, we'll make sure that we have a ton of communication that's going to come out and kind of give you a brief over of what the task feature is all about. So this is something that will be included with the plans feature. So that's all the tabs within the plant itself. Just going to go through, just make sure that there are no questions. All right, so there was one question in here I'll just review. There's a question that popped up in here that was answered. Um, the question was, if someone checks in early, will the start time adjust to when they actually checked in, or will they stay at 7:30? And so the answer to that is that it's going to check them in at their scheduled start time. So that's how scheduling works. And then, of course, if they're late, that's where you can go in and adjust their times as needed. So you can always adjust them earlier, later, as you need to within the track app. So again, that's only in the track app that that you'll get that late prompt, allowing you to adjust the check-in time. All right, so from here, let's take a look at the actual, so I'm going to just minimize this for a bit so we can see all the assignments. So in this case, we've got the chart in here. We've got 2 assignments in here. Those are going to be in here on the plan side, which will forward over into the event side. From here, let's go into the list. So you'll see that I have this date created on here, this column. I like adding this column in here. So if you're unfamiliar with using columns, there's a lot of information that's hidden. If it's that third button at the top right, is called columns. And you'll see that there's a bunch of different columns you can add. You can sort and change your sort order for how the columns appear in your data table. But I like having this date created in here only because I can sort by when they were created. So for training, this is great for me. You may want to sort by date to activate. So again, it depends on how you're looking at this. So here's my plan right here. So there is a checkbox next to each of the plans right here. So if you click that checkbox, you'll see there's going to be a bunch of different options at the top there. So there's 3 additional options. This one right here is a start now. So this is if you are ready to activate the plan into a live event. You would click the Start Now button. If you're looking at copying the event, you can click the copy function. So let's do the copy function real quick here. So if I wanted to copy this, let's say I like the structure of this generic plan. I like the assignments. So this is going to be, let's say, the foundation for what I want to create for the next plan event. I can click copy. It's going to copy everything but the resources. So you'll see it names it exactly the same, except it puts dash copy in there. I can click in here. You'll see the date to activate is exactly the same. So again, I can always go in and edit that as I see fit. So once this is copied over, I can edit the information. So you'll see at the top here is an edit function. I can go up here and I can change the name if I wanted to. I can change the location if I want to. I can change the start date. So let's say the start date is not till June 1st at 7 a.m. I can name this something else. So training plan. Change the address information if I want to, and click save. Oh, what did I do here? Let me go in here. Training plan. Okay. Looks like we might have a bug on here. So I apologize on that. It's not allowing me to change the event name or the plan name. So it's a slight bug. We'll get that fixed in our next release here. But yes, you are able to change the and edit the plan name. So that's the issue that's coming up on here. So we'll get that changed and fix our next release. But so if you are working in there, you want to change the name of the plan, just know that as of right now, there's a slight bug on that. And that will come in our next release. So from here, you can go into the chart. You can see the chart. Everything is exactly the way it was in my other chart. So you'll see that the chart structure is exactly the same and also my scheduling. So scheduling stays as well. You see that? So I can go in here and I can edit the scheduling if I need to. But you'll see no resources come through. Another thing that does not come through is any files. Since this is a completely new plan, no files that were from the previous planned event is not going to be copied over. So it's just a chart structure, and then scheduling. And you can go in here, you can edit the information as you see fit. So this is great just to, if you have like just a basic functional chart and you want to add to that functional chart, it's great for you to copy, and that way you don't have to start from scratch every single time. So it's a quick and easy way for you to work with an existing plan. So again, no roster, everything is blank from here. So that is the copy function. So from here, if I wanted to go in there and I wanted to go and um, click to activate this or delete it, there is a function in here. So if you click the checkbox next to this, there's a delete button. This is deleting the plan. So this is a permanent deletion. You can't undo this. So if you made a mistake and you copied a plan, you don't like it, this is the time that you can delete it. So again, you have to type in delete in all caps, enter that in, which will then allow you to delete it. So that it'll delete it, no longer available, but you still have your generic plan over here that you created beforehand. So if you made a copy, didn't like it, you can start from scratch again if you wanted to. Last but not least is the functionality to activate, which is the very first Start Now button. So this is where if the event is starting, so it's the day of the event, I'm going to look at activating my plan. When you click the Start Now button, you're going to get this attention. Did you add all the resources you needed? Did you add start times, locations? Again, this is all optional stuff, right? You click Continue. It's going to take you to the Create Event from a Plan. So this is where you can change the name of the plan. If you didn't like the name of the event itself, like you put this, you call the plan generic plan, but you want to make it more specific to the actual event that's occurring, this is where you can enter that information. And then from here, if you need to change any information, if the address is different, this is where you can add a different address in here. And then click Save. Once you click Save, the event is activated. You'll see a success event started. So important. If you change anything once the plan is activated, if you change anything to the plan itself, it will not reflect in the activated planned event. Okay, so that will be for the next one. So if you make some changes and no one has checked in yet, you can end that event, delete it, and then reactivate it if you need to. So now the event is activated. So you would go from plans now to the events. And I should see my event. There it is, training exercise for today's date. And it's using the plan name. So I have the plan name in here. I'll add it. So there is, again, the columns button. If you ever want to know the plan name that it's pulling from, I can add this. I'll put this up over here. And there it is, generic plan. So generic plan, that's what it's pulling this event from. So if I go in there, you'll see the date I started it, the plan it pulled from, the location is pulled up from the plan itself. If I look at the chart's going to be exactly the chart I had in my plan, except no resources in here, remember, because they're all planned resources. So in here, you'll see that there's an option for live view and plan view. So live view is going to show you who's actually checked in, planned or unplanned. And then you have your plan view over here, which is going to be in orange background, shows you all the individuals that are planned that has not checked in yet. So this is managing it on the plans or on the events side, which is a different training. So if you're interested in that part two of I've got an activated plan, now what do I do? Let me know, put that in the chat, and I'll put that in for one of my trainings that's coming up maybe in the third quarter. I already have this next quarter already planned out for topics, but for that third quarter, I can run through this again. Or if you have questions on this, you can definitely email us at training@salamanderlive.com. It can provide you some resources where you can go in and take a look at that process. But if you would like that live training, let me know. And that way I'll add it to our list of trainings that's coming up here. All right. Any questions on what we covered today? Any questions? Oh, I see a question. Is the second offering of each training webinar typically the same as the first? Yeah, so the trainings I provide, the topics are the same topic. I just give two opportunities since everybody has differing schedules. So I just give two opportunities, cover the same thing on both trainings. And so if you can't make the first one, hopefully you make the second one. And then out of the two is I'll pick and choose the better of the two webinars, and I'll post those on our Salamander Live YouTube channel. Our Salamander Live YouTube channel has all of the webinar recordings we've done in the past. You can also find them here under Learning. So you go to Learning, go to the very first option, Salamander Live V3 Documents, go to Webinar Recordings. You'll find all the ones that we've done in the past as well. And if you're interested in our training schedule, we do email that out. We also have it on the dashboard here as well as on our website. So our next one that's coming up is going to be deployable equipment, and these are the two dates right here. So if you're interested in joining, please send us that your request, and I'll forward you over the invite. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining on the call here. Let us know if you have any questions. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.